Now it's all about fighting the woke, and it's all too PC. Yet for some reason, everyone's awake. You're the only one asleep.
Cheers to that.
Yeah. That's that. Welcome to Silly Whales. If we sound different, it's because we are different. We're two different people.
Yeah.
You know, my name's Michael, and his name's Derek.
Oh, I thought you just meant we're two different people from each other, not that we're now different people in this moment.
No, we've been replaced. We got cancelled. A whole thing.
Wow, that train journey really was a big one for me. Fucking hell.
You know,
a few hours ago, I really was still Joe.
Like that could, if this show gets somewhat successful, if we end up working with like a corporation like BBC, and they decide they just don't like us, they can just cancel the show and then bring it back with like two generic people, like two like middle level stand-up comedians.
What, a token white and token black person?
Yeah, pretty much.
Who would you want to replace you?
Did it have to be English?
No.
And of course,
it's the BBC, so yeah. pick realistically.
Oh, Reginald D. Hunter.
Oh, Reginald D. Hunter's a great fucking choice. Yeah. I love Reginald. Reginald Delicious Hunter. I don't know who the fuck would I choose? Oh, I mean, if I could choose actually anyone, and I know he could because of the BBC, David Tennant.
Oh yeah,
if I could have a fucking Scottish guy come in for me, that would be great.
If David Tennant and Reginald D. Hunter made a podcast, it would rival Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama's podcast together.
I did not realise they had a podcast.
They had a podcast together. They had like maybe 8 episodes or 14 episodes. It's called Renegades. And it's about their unlikely friendship and how they both came through very similar times. It happened like either post-COVID or leading up to COVID, whatever. Like 2022 happened.
All post-presidential. As you know, generally speaking, when you are a president, you should keep your social media outside of your presidency.
He wasn't president anymore. But like, it was ridiculously good. I listened to 2 episodes so far, and it's just 2 guys shooting the shit, literally. And it's just like, hey, I like this. It's Bruce Springsteen and fucking Barack Obama together.
It's probably quite a nice thing to retire on, because you can kind of get rid of all of the bullshit to some extent. Because, I mean, Barack Obama's not in politics anymore.
Nah, not really.
He just kind of finished.
So he just, point. Like, he does the odd interview here and there. Like, he did that podcast series, which was like, a limited 8 episodes. Bruce Springsteen's still like a rock star, effectively, still doing everything. But, you know.
But it's not like fucking Tony Blair, who just keeps on fucking coming back over and over and over again.
Like, I think that is literally if the bad equivalent of that podcast would be if Nigel Farage and Morrissey had a podcast.
Morrissey? Who's Morrissey again?
The singer from the Smiths, who ended up becoming like a far-right guy.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Who'd randomly popped up and I was invited to learn of his existence.
Because I got into the Smiths as a like early teenager because my sister like loved them. And I was like, cool, yeah, I like the Smiths. Terrible. Like, I can't get vibe with any of their songs anymore because it doesn't really connect that way. Which is sad because normally you can separate like, you know, the artist and the music for certain things.
So that was an example of the artist really did fuck
pretty
over,
much, yeah. Like, Michael Jackson have 2 or 3 of his songs on my main playlist. Yeah. Easy. I know multiple people who go, R. Kelly's a piece of shit, but Ignition has to stay. Because it's just, you can't beat Ignition.
Yeah.
So, fine. Do you know what? Fine. You acknowledge he's a piece of shit, but you know.
Like, I mean, it's hard not to for me, like.
You know.
And even though I know it's R. Kelly.
But it'll still play in every single club.
Yeah. It is one of those, it genuinely is one of those things though where I do get people, I'm trying to think of context where this has happened, but definitely not in real life, but when I've seen stuff on telly or whatever, where, you know, where there will be a slight controversial element to any R. Kelly song that gets played, but at the same time, it's not enough for people to really get mad. Like, everyone just kind of like goes along with it, whatever. Yeah,
I think that's his main thing, really. Like, he has really good songs, which are in most DJs' repertoire. So they know they have to pull that out.
Yeah.
Before they bring on Mr. Brightside. Like, that song will play, and then Mr. Brightside will come on out of nowhere.
All right, I've realised I now have two split things I can say, and they're both important, but for very different reasons. The first one is at some point an interview needs to happen.
Yes.
The second thing is, does Drake now also count? Or will Drake start counting in?
Drake will be fine, because he'll release...
Depends on how far things go in a certain direction.
I think it's done. I think the whole thing's done. He took down his own diss track.
I mean more like popular understanding, because there is a bit more I think there's more popular understanding of certain things that there wasn't before, so I don't know.
Like, I realized this a few days ago. Chris Brown sells out tours and has shown little to no desire to change. Elvis Presley married a 13-year-old and no one really batted an eyelid. And it was wrong back then. So, like, we like people who, like, get away with things depending on who they are and what they look like. And, the amount of times I've heard women say, Chris Brown, I'll let him beat me, and just brush it all off.
That's a very bizarre thing.
It is, but the things we do to justify ourselves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Straight up, easy. Welcome to Silly Wales.
Welcome to Silly Wales.
It's only taken us 7 minutes in. If we do sound different, that's because we're in person. Joe is back in London for one time only. He has a sold-out tour. He's doing all the dates. He's doing Victoria Park, he's doing Welsh Street Common, he's doing London Fields. They're all sold out. You can't get any tickets. It's exclusive to the Patreon. We don't have a Patreon, but if we did, it would be exclusive to that.
We should probably do that at some point.
Yeah, when people care. When people care, And
we could both just pay into it.
We'll pay into our own Patreon. And then there we are. That's how we get started. This is a podcast. This podcast is a mental health podcast, to be specific. This is a podcast for everyone, but it might not be for you. What does that mean? I'm still editing last week's episode. It's going to be quite funny because I'm going to release last week's episode today. It's like, today or tomorrow. Today is Friday. It feels like a Sunday. And then this episode you're listening to right now will probably be released on Tuesday. Anyway, nothing we're going to say is going to be super outdated, which is happy to me, which was a fear.
Yes, I mean, this is going to be this is pretty current. Like anything you talk about now is going to be quite current.
It'll survive till Tuesday, unless Drake dies.
Well, his security got shot, didn't he?
Yeah. But that was, again, completely unrelated.
Was it unrelated?
Things.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how related it was. It was just, at the time, people were not sure about it.
Because, look, I was talking about hip-hop culture as if we know. I
learned up a bit.
Yeah, you watched one YouTube video, I've watched 45.
To be fair, by a guy who is very knowledgeable.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I realised after the 40th video, they're all saying the exact same thing. But they're all equally uniquely funny because they're just of how they do it. Like the editing of it all is so good at how they manufactured this whole beef into content. And there's some content creators who are just known for being streamers who made videos on it. And they really had no idea what they were talking about. They were just reading things. Yeah. Because they had to make content and like, this is content. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to make a video on everything, But I guess these guys like money, so they kind of have to.
It's the news cycle, essentially, isn't it? I mean, it's essentially the modern new version of just how the news now operates.
Which is sad, because a lot of it is very opinionated. Like, if someone tells me they get their news from Moist Critical, I might smack the shit out of them on principle,
Or was it Asmongold?
Yeah, I'm smacking your head off the concrete,
Yeah. It's... it really is a stretch now. To imagine that.
Where do you get your news from? Pyrocynical. Okay.
God, I don't even know who that is.
He's actually very funny. Okay. But yeah, like
that's where I get news from.
Where do you get your news from? George Galloway. Oh, okay. Like, who is actually a YouTuber in his own right at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny because he feels like he would be qualified if you said that 15 years ago.
George Galloway is more of a YouTuber than he is an MP.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, certainly true right now.
Yeah.
It is very odd speaking to you.
It is.
Well, even though I'm not speaking to you differently, but it's just like we've done this so much now where I haven't even been able to look at you, and now it's so odd. Like, oh my god, you're here. I could touch your arm.
Help!
I could touch your shoulder. Consent.
I have to bring myself closer to you. Yeah.
I could touch your leg.
Consent.
Right up the thigh. Yeah, it's all possible, man. Yeah. Which it's just it's. I think the weird part is that, and this was just as we were starting this up, I was like, if if we were still trying to do this while I was living here, how easily do you think we actually would have gotten around to doing it?
It wouldn't have happened.
I think it would have taken longer, right?
We wouldn't have done it. We would have done
I think you never would have done it.
Nah, we wouldn't have. I think the reason why we did it is because we were very far away. Because we would see each other like every single week or so.
Yeah.
Leading up to it. So then it'll be like, oh, okay. But then we'll always go for like a walk or somewhere. We would never really stay in this location.
Yes.
And when we did, it was in your garden, which we're overlooking right now.
I mean, the room we're using right now, which is my old bedroom, I don't think we haven't hung out in here for years, really.
About a good decade or so.
Yeah, like the old days when we were young and we used to hang out in here.
Smash Brothers and Halo.
Yeah, is very different. It's very different. I don't use this space like that anymore. It's not my kind of room in that way.
Yeah, technically not your room at all, really. Like,
no, it's not. No, not really. Although I was the last one to use it for a long time. Yeah. So it's one of those weird things.
How does it feel to be back though? Like,
I love being back in London, man. Like it's I keep mentioning this D&D thing, but it's set in New York. It's set in a contemporary New York, but it's magical and all that stuff. It's consensual realism, consensual magical realism, I think is the term. Anyway, The Unsleeping City, for anyone who's interested, from Dimension 20, which is also Dropout / College Humor, what College Humor is now. So, sorry. The thing about that is that the DM is from New York, and New York is the setting, and he has such pride and love for it that he actually, like, having seen so much of it and the things he loves about it, which is a lot of the similar things that I like about London. Like, its multiculturalism, its ability to, like, have different people come together and so on, community and things like that. The effect of that is I am not only inspired to, go to somewhere like New York, which I never used to be. Like, to me, going to America was something I would do for, like, natural wonders or, like, the natural landscape.
Yeah.
I would never want to go to New York, so I was like, why the fuck would I go to New York? But that's when I look at it as what I think a lot of people in England think of London as, which is just, like, sort of tower blocks or something like that. Not, even though all cities have some of them better than others, admittedly, but there is this level of, like, especially when you have lots of different cultures together, like making cultures and having communities that functionally are so different yet are so culturally, like, deep or whatever. There's just so much texture to it because you've got all of these different people with being able to influence each other in really brilliant ways. And it makes me recognize some of the things I really like about London. And, like, when I come back and I'm looking around, I'm like, yeah, no, obviously I can see the bits that aren't so great. But I mean, right now, like, coming in, obviously for me this is nice weather and it's sunny and stuff, and I can kind of see it in the best, in, the Hollywood light.
Yeah, you can see it like it has a glisten to it now. Yeah,
that kind of light just in general, which is just something we don't have in the UK very often, which I realise. You only realise until you see it in the summer, and you're like, oh, right, that's normal for quite a few places in the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, right, yeah, I kind of, yeah. And then I see it, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's not that bad. And it isn't. There's so many good things, but it's like, the thing I do miss about London is so many people that I don't get to see. I literally spoke to a guy called Ibrahim from Nigeria today on the way here because he was asking whether he was going back to... He's going to the airport because he's going back to Nigeria. He went, like, to London, Plymouth, and then he came.
Yeah.
I guess it was family in Plymouth, I guess. And he didn't know quite how to get to where he needs to go. So I was like... So he asked me some stuff, and I was like, okay. And I was just going through stuff with him. And it's just nice talking to someone, and in a way that in Worcester, there isn't quite like that in the same way. Like, I'm not saying that London people are, but specific, because he's not even a Londoner.
Yeah.
But it was that I rarely get a chance to talk with someone who is, who the multiculturalism isn't the same, so therefore there just aren't as many people who I can talk to about distinct things like where, like, what's Lagos like, for example, and things like that. Like, I don't get to have that conversation with people in the same way. There are a few people I've met, actually. Kessis and Demi have introduced me to a few people on nights out and stuff, but it's great, though. I understand why, and I really wish that I could live here, in a way.
Yeah.
I really wish I could. I can't really financially really do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a struggle.
But...
As I'm finding out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More and more.
Yeah. Like, I'm looking for places to live in London. And it's just like, well, cool. We can have a new job, but that new job has to pay at least 3 or 4, well, in total, like at least 2K more than where I'm currently working. So I have to really, like, how much of a strain is it going to be on me to live in London properly? But, you know, it's a thing. It's a process. The thing is, I know it's possible. Mm-hmm. So that's a blessing. It doesn't help that I'm a picky cunt. So I really...
When it comes to job finding and stuff?
Well, everything. I'm super chill on secondary things, but on primary things, like where I live, where I work, what I do, very picky. So, like...
Sound like important things, to be fair.
Yeah, but people, like, the way I see people... Or somebody coming in the house. The way I see people, like, go, I need to work a job, and they'll work any job. I can't do that.
But I can't either.
Like...
I mean, I will do eventually. I'll get desperate enough, but I can't do that.
I can't do that, though. Like, education's all I know. Football coaching's all I know, effectively. I can do other stuff. I'm very qualified to do other stuff, but I never really push out the envelope. And it's not being comfortable. It's just I don't do well. Mm-hmm. I worked for Boost Juice Bar. I told that story yesterday with a friend. And I lasted 3.5 weeks.
I forgot this completely.
Yeah.
When did you work for them?
I think it was 1920, maybe.
In the 1920s?
I wish. No. Well, I wouldn't be allowed a job. No, in like when I was 19 or 20. So,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it was like I struggled.
Yeah,
it wasn't going to work out.
Was that your first job?
Technically, I think it was.
No, I guess that makes sense.
The first job that isn't being a TA.
Oh no, that's a job.
But like that's the first time I ever took a step out of it because I thought there'd be more money there.
Right. I guess.
And then there wasn't. I think I got paid weekly from Boost as well. I think I got like 300 and something pounds a week as well. And at school, I was earning 300 and something pounds a week. I think the difference between them was Boost was paying me maybe 3 or 4 pounds more. And I was like, no, there's no point. Yeah. So, you know, the only thing I would like to see progress is my pay. I would love to work these same 2 jobs I'm working now, but with more pay. So, you know, but hey, these are things that you have to balance out and you get to. Life's a journey or all that bullshit, isn't it? Like,
yeah, to be fair, my entire thing right now is that if I can earn enough money that I can move out and live in a place on my own, then that's what I want, really. That is what I want. Genuinely, the desire to... So, additional thing, Demi and Kessis are on holiday.
Oh yeah, your cat or hamster sitting?
Rats.
Rat sitting.
They have 2 rats, Penny and Hella. Hella's a great name.
Is it blind?
No.
Can you... What's Helen? Oh, it's Keller.
No, Hella is isn't she like the Norse god of hell or something like that? Oh, either way, it doesn't matter. But the point is so I'm sort of so I'm going round to the house to like feed the rats and whatever while they're away because they're away until like next Friday.
Yeah.
Doxing them. But
they live right here.
But so I went round to the house on Wednesday because they are closer to my work than I am. So I went there, stayed the night there, and then went into work the next day. Lovely. And then I realised how much I love being in my own house.
Yeah.
Being on my own, not having to share with anyone, which I haven't done technically ever in my life, if you include, obviously, the home that we're in now. I have never been in a house that hasn't shared. And I'm 27 or whatever. I mean, neither of you, from what I understand, really. I think you shared, like, maybe with one other person or something like that, but...
I think in Calais, I shared... I had, like, a room. But in Calais, I also had, like, times where I rented an apartment for myself. Like, when I went to Cali to do like a short-term stay, I rented and... Like,
oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah, I rented an apartment for myself. And then, like... But, like, I did move out in Hackney to a shared place for like 2 or 3 weeks. Because somebody was, like, leaving the country. So I was there.
Yeah.
And the other people who were staying in the house were also gone. So I was like, okay, you just look after the house. And I had the same feeling of, this is great. I technically lived in Clapton. Cool. Yeah. Turns out I hate Clapton. So, like, it's like easy. But these are things that I know are attainable. They just require a little bit of extra push, in a way.
It is mad, though, because it feels like this is the space I've needed. Like, at home, I realised how the rooms I've always been in is very small, and I tend to stay in my room because I tend not to enjoy putting what I spend my free time on, which is largely speaking, well, obviously up till now, like just being on YouTube and stuff like that, like all the time. I tend not to want to do that in a public space. Both, like, even if I've got headphones on, I wouldn't want to just be in a public space doing something like that, because it's it's a very asocial experience of just like, oh yeah, I'm here, but I'm not actually going to engage with you, kind of thing. And you know, like, you're talking to me, but all the while it's like, okay, when are we going to stop talking so I can go back to what I was doing? And similarly, I wouldn't want to have it fucking out loud, because that's antisocial as fuck. I mean, that's just the phone on the train all over again. But then it was like, wait, I can get up in the morning at whatever time. Obviously, I still want to get up early, so I'm still, motivated to do that. But then I get up, I go downstairs, I eat or drink whatever, and then I can be in whatever state of dress, and I don't have to think about it. I see the rats, I say hello in the morning, I open the door, whatever. I don't have to think about not the front door, the back door. And then there's the garden. I'm not just naked at the front door, like opening it, going,
pick up the Evening Standard or whatever it is.
Yeah, at this house that's not mine. Yeah. No, I haven't quite gotten there yet. Maybe in the second week. So yeah, it's just but it was just. I think it does say something about me that I've never experienced this, and immediately I kind of fell in love with it. I know that I will do it, and there'll obviously be things like, oh, you don't get, there are days where you might not see anyone potentially, for example, because there's no one around. But in a way, I feel like that's already what I was doing. So I don't think it's better. I think it's better that I actually have more space in which I'm going to create my own loneliness, rather than a tiny box that I'm going to create my loneliness, and also not eat properly and drink properly because of it, so.
Yeah, because when my mum went back to St. Vincent, and I was like, cool. Because my situation is I arrived back home from Cali, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I was in a state of limbo for ages. And unbeknownst to me, housing prices were just rising around me. I had no idea of the concept of it. So then I got back into work later than I ideally wanted to. And I was working part-time in one job, didn't have any other job of income. I was like, okay, I need to build myself up mentally, physically, because I need to start working full-time again. I don't know how I'm going to do it, I'm just going to have to do it. And this is we're talking approaching 2 years now. Then I went back into football, so I was like, okay, cool. So now I'm earning equivalent of a full-time, wage, which is sad because now I'm paying student loans.
Oh, right. Have you reached that point?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay.
Because they lowered it down, didn't they?
Yeah, it's 25k now. I'm now earning 20-something.
My God, that's so much more than me.
But that amount varies. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, I'm gonna finish uni. Let's just do it because I'm paying for this loan. And I'm paying for it. I didn't get anything out of it. So let's just do it. So I'm looking at that. I'm like, okay, we can get this done. That's easy enough. And I'm like, okay, cool. If we accomplish that, then that opens up an avenue for anything else I want to do. And I don't even have to do a degree per se. It could just be a diploma of a thing. But it's something. It's voices,
I know, there are people arriving. We knew that this was going to be a shorter episode because we're having to cut this in at a very awkward... Squeeze this in between me arriving, you being available, and people coming round to see me. Yeah. And come round, for the
This is Joe's homecoming event,
Yeah, and then I'm leaving tomorrow, so it's not even this is the night.
This is
pretty much
the night.
Yeah, for everything to happen. So it's gonna be shorter. Finish any points, by the way, because I'm not like we must stop now. No, it's just
I'm trying to think what other points are there. There's not many really. It's been fun. It's been a fun couple of days / weeks. I should be at Muay Thai sparring today, right now, but I'm really tired. So it's not happening.
Hey, baby, just stay with me. It's
fine. That way I'll survive.
Just relax.
I bought like all my stuff from Thailand. I got my new gloves. I got my Muay Thai shorts, and they're green and pink, the legendary colors. I got pink shin guards. I'm like, cool, we can do this. And I was like,
great.
I'm dying. I don't actually want to wear these. So
I can get beat up in them next week.
Yeah, like I'll never wear the shorts until I'm actually fighting. Because I feel like I'll look really absurd in them. But yeah, aside from that, it's been one of them weeks where I'm like, thank God it's over. And in a few weeks from there, in like 6 weeks I'll be in Sweden. So
for how long again?
Just for a week.
Just for a week.
A week-long tournament. Try not to die, and do my best.
You gotta keep me abreast of that as we come closer to it.
Yeah, I'll probably do like a whole tournament breakdown.
We've actually got a few things. I know next month. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is 6-month anniversary basically at this point for this.
But yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's almost spot on because I think we started. I can't remember how long we started afterwards, but we started within the first week of January.
Yeah.
So this is we've certainly secured a 6-month anniversary by now.
Look at that.
Woo!
Consecutive. Like I think we've missed 1 week.
Oh, I'm totally wrong. It's 5 months. Because it's 1 to 6, not 12 to 6.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Next month, that will be true.
It doesn't matter.
We're very close, though.
We didn't celebrate the 10th episode. We celebrated the 11th. There we go.
I mean, we're like 150 days in or something. If that helps. I don't know if that helps.
That sounds like a half to me.
Yep. Cheers, brother. How'd it get you?
Yes. With that being said,
don't worry, we have wine. It's fine.
Thing is, I'm surprisingly enjoying this can of Foster's.
I'm shocked. Genuinely.
I'm growing up.
I don't even like this Foster's.
Like, what's happening to me? I had olive the other day and I didn't die.
Okay, that's actually, maybe there is something happening to you.
Like, I went to Oaxaca.
Oh, Oaxaca,
yeah. I didn't think I would like it.
Wait, where'd you go to Oaxaca?
Canary Wharf. I'll tell you off podcast. But,
okay, yeah.
But, yeah, and like, I had like, I also had a truffle for the first time. I didn't hate it.
Oh.
I wanted to stab myself, but I didn't hate it. Like, olives, I didn't hate the olives either. Normally I ate something with tomatoes all over it.
What olives were they?
Green ones. The green looking ones, like the olive looking olives.
Almost everyone I know seems to like green olives more than black olives, even though I'm the opposite.
I don't think I've had black olives. I just told myself I don't like them and decided that.
Right. Fair.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah. And I was thinking just about my whole life with food, and I'm like, yeah, no, I've definitely done that over and over. Hey, no, maybe there is a palate change. I've had palate changes quite often once I was like 23 and onward.
Yeah, I grew up so late though. I grow really, really late. It's bad.
I don't know. You're tall enough. You're big enough. If you're going to keep growing, I'm going to be annoyed.
That's the thing. Like,
I'm going to be real jealous.
When I donated blood for money, because I don't do things for free.
You donated? What? You got paid for it?
Yeah.
Who paid you?
You can do like online. There's like blood donation for like medical research and all that stuff.
Oh.
So I got like 45
I'm shocked
quid.
that you could get paid for that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They take a lot. So like the little vials, I don't know how much is in them. Like I'm gonna say like 25 milliliters. Make that up. They took like 6 of those. Like, they're cloning me. They're cloning me, and they're gonna realize that
that's still only 150 mils. That's not that much.
I don't know what
that's less than what I do.
How much do you donate?
I think it's 400 and something.
So then that I'm just gonna say
it's about it's roughly the same as this can. I think. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's not. It's like it's a little bit less than this can.
Because the tubes are thin, but they're long, so I don't know how much is in them. But yeah, like I've done
not
that.
Not much. I know what those are like.
So yeah, it turns out I'm a bit of a bitch with needles, as we already all know this anyway.
Yeah, we do.
But yeah, like
you and Kestis both.
Good. See, look at us. But then yeah, like we did my height and weight, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you're 184 centimeters." I'm like, "I was 183 last time." I was like, "What?"
Ever so slightly.
Ever so slightly. So maybe 6'1" is there. Who knows? It's there to get.
Yeah, just do that like 1.5 more times now.
See,
before you're 30, then work it out.
If I grow up and I'm 30 years old and I'm somehow 6'2", that'll be funny.
Just to be clear, because if he ever listens to this, he's gonna be annoyed at me. Kessis is not a bitch with needles.
It's just a bitch.
No, he literally faints if a needle enters his skin. Like he has no control over that. It's like a reflex thing. He has no problem looking at a needle going into him. It just immediately makes him faint.
So sounds like there's a problem with needles going into him.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like it's some nervous response or something like that. But literally, like he forgot to tell the person giving him a vaccination, for the student vaccination for meningitis. Yeah. He didn't tell them because he just kind of forgot. And then they put it in him, and then he just fucking fainted. And he was, and they were like, "Oh God!" Like they didn't know, they weren't sure what happened. So they were really worried about him. And he was like, "Oh yeah, no, sorry, I didn't say that. I forgot that's a thing that
Rogan
happened."
was right. Joe Rogan was right.
I guess it makes sense if you haven't had vaccination in ages, but
yeah,
right. We're definitely, we're helping to extend this so much more than we need to.
Very true. We're gonna take 2 steps to the rear and get out of here. We're in the wind. See ya.
Love. Woo!